Iuic was the new moon. Let me see. It was called New Moon. Will Trump make America great again? All right. And I may just do that the title response. New Moon. Will Trump make America great again? Anyway, this guy Deacon Malachi, he said, you heard the video in the beginning. He said that the Sabbath doesn't dictate the new moon Sabbath. Now, there's a couple of things that I saw. Just bear with me here right away. Number one, IUIC has a chart that they use, and if you look at it right here, it shows at the very top it says new/full moon. Now, as the apostles taught and told them, corrected them on it, and we know it to be true that the new moon is not the full moon. The full moon and the new moon are not the same. On their chart, they have it as the same. Look at it at the top. New moon, full moon. So what they've done is, and they'll use the scripture saying that Esau got everything upside down. They may even say, and I didn't hear them say this, but I'm saying this is the only way you can explain it. Because I heard Deacon Malachi, they brought that scripture out, turning of things upside down. I believe anyway. I didn't watch the whole video, but I heard them say, we're going to turn things back the right way. Okay, now the moon cycles, that's a very well-known thing. And you can actually go outside and look yourself. At the beginning of every month, the new moon, when it comes in, it is the dark moon. Okay, bottom line. I can show you on if you go to the moon phases, right? And you can do this on any moon phase calendar. Look at this. Right here. You see on the side, over to your left, you see the new moon is a dark moon, right? And then you see what? Going to your right, waxing, crescent. When something waxes, it increases, right? It's waxing, then it becomes a half moon. Then it's a waxing gibbous. Then you got the full moon. Then it starts to decrease, waning. Waning gibbous, third quarter, waning crescent. And then what? You got the the new moon again. That's a whole nother month. See, a month goes through phases. And as the Elder Apostle Bar was talking about, and we can bring out now, the moon is the sign. Well, let's read it. Let's read it, Salakia, not right here. Let's do it over here. And I also got another short video I want to play that I did a little bit of research. So let's go real quick to Ecclesiasticus 43 and verse 6. It says, he made the moon also to serve in her season for a declaration of times, a sign of the world. From the moon is a sign of feast, a light that decreaseth in her perfection. See that? It says, verse 8 says, the month is called after her name, increasing wonderfully in her changing, being an instrument of the armies above, shining in the firmament of heaven. Okay. Now before we go on, let's get the Good News translation of that. Isaiah 43 and verse 6 from the Good News translation, it says, there is also the moon, marking the passage of time, an eternal sign of the changing seasons. The moon determines the holy days. Its light grows full and then grows dim, right? Its light grows full, then grows dim. So it has to grow before it comes a full moon. And then what does it do? It waxes to the full moon, then it wanes as it decreases. The month is named after the moon, marvelous to watch as it grows fuller each night. How does it grow fuller each night? It starts out as a dark moon, it grows into a crescent, then it waxes to those quarters, then it gets to the full. A signal light for the heavenly armies shining out in the dome of the sky. Don't get messed up over because it says the dome of the sky. Same thing is said over here.
All right. Hey, Shalom. Shalom, shalom. I want to give all the praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai, Bahasham, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who taught me this truth. Double salutations to our Iuic out there laboring in the house of David, the elect, that's pushing his word with all truth, righteousness, and sincerity. Shalom to you, brothers. and shalom to the elect. I'm back with another quick lesson through the Holy Spirit, the Rekah Kodash, all right? And I just wanted to respond to the elder's lesson here, Elder Manatazaba, all right? He did the lesson entitled Iuic is wrong. The new moon establishes the Sabbath, which is a response to Elder Apostle Gabar's video, which he entitled Iuic Deacon says the moon does not dictate the 7th-day Sabbath, right? So as we see, once again, Iuic is clearly going off, all right? Because according to the scriptures, according to the true understanding, all right, the new moon is what establishes the Sabbath, which is also the first day of the month, all right? So as you see in the photo that was put up here in the lesson, all right, they are establishing the Sabbath based off of the full moon, which is going off, which is incorrect. And really what these guys are doing, like the elder said in the video, you know, they had made mention about, you know, making things right from what Esau has turned upside down. But in actuality, these are the guys that are turning the understanding upside down. They're going off, all right? And and ultimately they're adding to the scriptures as well, right? This is Proverbs chapter 30 and verse 5, and it reads, it says, every word of Yahweh Shema Shai is pure. He is a shield unto them that put their trust in him. The point, it says, add thou not unto his words, lest he reprove thee, and thou be found a liar. And that's what's happening with Iuic. They're being found as liars because the full moon does not establish the Sabbath, all right? You know, the Sabbath is not determined by the full moon. All right, that's an error on their part, and they're clearly going off. Let me add another one. All right, this is Deuteronomy 4:2, and it reads, we'll start at verse 1. All right, Deuteronomy 4:1, it says, now therefore hearken, O Israel, unto the statutes and unto the judgments which I teach you, for to do them, that you may live and go and possess the land which the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai, your power of your fathers, giveth you. Verse 2, ye shall not add unto the word which I command you, neither shall you diminish aught from it, that you may keep the commandments of the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai, your power which I command you. So what Iuic is doing is pretty much, you know, adding and taking away from what the scriptures say. All right, and these guys are some real warlocks, some real witches, man. And before I get back into more of the moon cycle, if you will, right? You know, when I was watching the lesson from Elder Apostle Gabar, you know, I was inquiring why Iuic is, you know, determining the Sabbath based off the full moon and what the significance, you know, what was the significance of the full moon. So I was looking up some stuff, which I found interesting. Real quick, I just want to point this out. All right. So I came across this website here called theconsciousclub.com. It says astrology, full moon rituals around the world harness the power of the moon, right? So this is dealing with the full moon. So jumping down here, it says, why is the full moon celebrated? It says every month the moon starts a new cycle around the earth. A moon cycle begins with the new moon, all right, Iuic. Not the full moon. The moon cycle begins with the new moon. Okay? It says, when the moon stands between the earth and the sun, it is therefore invisible for the human eye, all right, because you can't see it. It says it then goes into a waxing phase until it reaches the full moon, right? It says the pinnacle of the moon cycle. After the full moon, the moon retreats into a waning phase until it all starts again with the new moon. The full moon is celebrated since thousands of years in ancient cultures for its magic, mystery, and special energy, right? It represents a time to gather with community. And I thought that was spiritual because, you know, Iuic has vocalized how they're here to serve the community, all right, which brothers have brought that out, going back to the idol Baal Berith, the god of the community, All right. We're not here to serve the community. We're here to serve and edify the elect. Right. So I thought that was kind of spiritual, is pretty much, put out there that these guys are under that 501c3 status. They've made those covenants with Esau, those agreements. There's certain regulations and things that they have to abide by. All right. So ultimately, this group is compromised, as we know. Right. But I thought it was spiritual, where it says it represents a time to gather with community, tying this back to the full moon here. Right. It says release unwanted energies and honor what we have created since the new moon. All right. Let's jump down. All right. I just thought this was spiritual. So it says pagan rituals. So it says here, the second paragraph, it says pagan Wiccan witchcraft, moon rituals worship the moon as a goddess associated with fertility and reflect back on the moon's importance in nature and the cycles of life. It says ceremonies and rituals include cleansing the energy by burning sage, making music, singing and dancing in sacred circles, looking at the moon and burning and releasing what does not serve anymore physically and emotionally. Now, I thought that's spiritual too. Now, we're not saying that these guys is, worshiping the moon and looking at the moon and all of that, but the things that they're doing that's tied to the full moon, the making the music, all these rap videos and R&B videos they be making, the dancing in the videos, all the high holy days are turned into like concerts and shit like that. So I find that highly spiritual, how all of that is tied to the full moon, and these is exactly what these guys are doing. And like I said, these guys are some real witches and warlocks and sorcerers, because they still push what? Jesus Christ. They're not pushing the Lord's name. They created their own lunar moon cycle. They call you Black Hebrew Israelites. There's a lot of stuff that they do that's off. So really, like I said, in reality, they're the ones that's really turning things upside down, which I find that, pretty spiritual. Right. But, getting back to the point of the, the moon, the lunar moon cycles. All right. Matter of fact, when you pull it up, as the elder was just bringing out here, you have the 8 lunar moon phases. Right. And you could look all this stuff up on your own as was stated. Right. But here from the NASA website, all right, you have the 8 moon phases, right? You have the new, which says we cannot see the moon when it is a new moon, the waxing crescent, first quarter, waxing gibbous, full, waning gibbous, third quarter, waning crescent. And it says here that the moon displays the moon displays these 8 phases, one after the other, as it moves through its cycle each month. It says it takes about 27.3 days for the moon to orbit Earth. However, because how sunlight hits the moon, it takes about 29.5 days to go from one new moon to the next new moon. And that's the cycle. All right. From new moon to new moon, which determines that next month, that 29.5 days, which is also regarded as the synodic month. Right. When you look that up. Synodic month, it says a month of approximately 29.53 days measured from a lunar phase, right? That's how you go from new moon to new moon. That's how you determine the new month. All right, which the new moon is the first day of that new month, which determines the Sabbath. All right, things that you can look up. So IUIC, once again, is going way off, right? This is Sirach 43, or Ecclesiastes chapter 43, verse 6. It says, he made the moon also to serve in her season, for a declaration of times and a sign of the world. For the moon is the sign of feast, a light that decreaseth in her perfection. Going back to the lunar chart, right? It says that a light that increaseth in her perfection. All right. So you have the new moon when it comes in, and what happens? It decreases. Right. And then from the full moon, you have the waning gibbous all the way back to the new moon, which would establish that that new month, that 29.5, what did it say, 29.5 days. And that's how you keep track of the cycle. Right. But it's not determined by the full moon, as IUIC is teaching. And this is how you know they're going off, man. That's not in the scriptures, right? It says the month is called after her name. That's where you get the word moon from. The word moon goes back to month. The month is called after her name, right? Which that new moon determines the new month. Increasing wonderly in her changing, being an instrument of the armies above, shining in the firmament of heaven. There you go. Genesis 1:14. And the power said, and the Alahayim said, let there be lights in the firmament of heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years. Yeah, the Lord created the stars, the constellations, the celestial bodies, the sun and the moon. All right, for that purpose. Verse 15, and let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth. And it was so. Right. There you go. There's another one real quick. Isaiah 66, Isaiah 66, verse 23. And it reads, it says, and it shall come to pass that from one new moon to another, and from one Sabbath to another, shall all flesh come worship before me, saith the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushua. So there you go. From one new moon to another, from one Sabbath to another, right? So the Sabbath is determined from the new moon. All right? Thus saith the scriptures, man. Exodus, okay? Exodus, the sign of the Sabbath. Exodus 31:12, and the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushua spake unto Moses, saying, speak thou unto the children, also unto the children of Israel, saying, verily, my Sabbaths you shall keep, for it is a sign between me and you throughout your generations, that you may know that I am the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushua that doeth sanctify you. So it said throughout your generations, we keep the Sabbath holy to this very day, to the best of our ability. All right. It says you should keep the Sabbath therefore, for it is holy unto you. Everyone that defileth it shall surely be put to death. And for it says, for whosoever doeth any work therein, that soul shall be cut off from among its people. Excuse me. It says, verse 15, 6 days may work be done, but the seventh is the Sabbath day of rest. Yeah, the seventh day, right? Which is not what, Friday, Saturday, right? That's not in the scriptures, man. It's all determined by the new moon. All right. Holy to the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushua, whosoever doeth any work in the Sabbath day, he shall surely be put to death. Wherefore the children of Israel shall keep the Sabbath, to observe the Sabbath throughout their generations for a perpetual covenant. Right, the point. Here's another one. This is Psalms 81 and verse 3. It says, blow the trumpet in the new moon, not the full moon. Blow the trumpet, blow up the trumpet in the new moon, which is also the Sabbath, and the time appointed on our solemn feast day. For this was a statute for Israel and a law of the power of Jacob, man. So there you go, man. So, it's pretty much what I wanted to, to point out there, man. That the new moon is determined by, the Sabbath is determined by the new moon, which also is tied to the first day of the month. So, just add in there, like the elder said, is easy to receive. You can look all these things up, right? But IUIC is clearly going off, So I pray that this quick lesson was edifying. We'll give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash, and Shalom.